Hi, I'm Dr. Hutchins, physical therapist at Movement Solutions. In today's video, we're going to be talking about hip pain and stiffness and how it can kind of get in the way of your workout and how you can fix it, right? If you're taking the time to work out, we want you to be able to get the most out of it. All right, so let's jump in. So to give you a little bit of background, I put some anatomy in here. So the hip joint itself, it consists of the pelvis, which creates the socket, and then the ball is the femur. So it's a ball and socket joint. And so that femur is nice and round at the top and allows the hip a lot of motion, which is awesome because it lets us move all over the place. In terms of muscles, we got muscles in the front of the hip, a lot of them. All these ones in the front are considered hip flexors. A lot of times we just talk about them as a group, but I want you to see how many there are, really. And then in the back of the hip, you've got all these smaller muscles in the back of the hip too. The piriformis muscle is one that gets a bad rap a lot of times because it can add some compression to this nerve, the sciatic nerve, as it comes through too. All right, so a lot of times we have pain in the front of the hip, and it can be caused either if you get this joint impingement where the ball in the socket isn't rolling nice and smooth anymore because either the joint or the muscles in the back of the hip are tight, and as you go to bend that hip forward, then you can get this butting up of the ball onto the socket, right? So that's a problem that causes that pinching in the front. Also, if the muscles in the back of the hip are really tight, then that means that the muscles in the front of your hip have to work that much harder every time you want to bring your leg up. If you have a lot of tightness in the hip and it's not moving well and you keep getting the bones butting up against each other, over time you can actually grow more bone over the socket or the ball. So the picture on the left shows the actual socket, that acetabulum, having more bone growth on it, called a pincer lesion. And then the second example shows if you start to develop more bone growth on the actual femur, on the ball. And then you can also have both situations. So we really want to take care of hip stiffness and tightness before this type of bony formation progresses. This is an example of an exercise where we're putting a strap onto the thigh and pushing the ball down away from the socket to create more space within the joint itself as you're bringing the leg up. And then in terms of reducing muscle tightness, you can actually get on a foam roller or a lacrosse ball and roll the muscles in the back of the hip to help them loosen up. A lot of times people just do this with the leg down, standing against the wall. I like to bring that leg up because a lot of times as you're bringing the thigh up, that's where you're creating more tension in those muscles, and that's where you need more length. So if you roll in that position, you're more likely to carry over the benefits into the position of bringing your knee up. And that's where we get the problem. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us or check out our website at movsol.com. Until next time, keep moving and stay healthy.